unnerving.
And there's also like no one that has the right answer of what to do other than like just deal with it.
Just deal with it.
And all of your castmates were going through it. But again, you were at such a young age that I can only imagine you're like trying to grow up and handle it. But also like, did your parents move to the city?
My mom and me and my sister did. And
Okay.
my dad was still working in Maryland.
Okay. Was there ever a time that you can like recall a memory of like when you were like, no, this is like really getting too much?
I think the reality is I handled it really well. I think I'm pretty thick-skinned at the end of the day. I've lived a very strange life, and I've learned to kind of let things roll off my back. But it was less the paparazzi in person that went, this is too much, and more what would come out afterwards from the photos, and that would turn. And that really started once I started the band, like the negative press, where there was this kind of hatred of what I was doing from the world, and people being like, here's an example. I'm on stage. I'm 16. I'm playing a show. I'm wearing a little dress. I have underwear on, but a photographer goes and shoots up my skirt. He kneels down, shoots up my dress, and my tampon string had slipped out. And so my tampon string was sticking out of my underwear. Perez Hilton puts that on the homepage of Perez Hilton. You can see like the side of my pussy and everything. Like it's like it's still on the internet. Have fun looking it up. But I'm underage, and the violation, and his headline, I don't remember what it said, but the headline was very negative of like slut. Like look how trashy Taylor is, kind of thing. And that kind of concept, like, it's so invasive. And I laugh about it now. And I laughed about it probably a week later because there's nothing you can do about it. But that's the kind of press that we're talking about, where people were or I was in a taxi cab and paparazzi jumped in the cab with me, and it's blinding lights. And I go like this to cover my face, and my assistant and friend at the time covers my face, and it's on the homepage of whatever tabloid site going, Taylor Momsen fucked up leaving club, because my eyes are kind of rolling back from they pick the one shot that looks bad and try to spin some kind of negative story around it. So I was getting a lot of negative press. Looking back, I probably should have hired a publicist, but I didn't know better.
Difference between like being a woman and a man in this industry is like astronomically different, because
it really is.
The photo that you just described being on the front page of someone's website, that is like, so that like should literally be illegal of how they're violating your body, especially. Not even especially.
Well, it's also child porn. So
right.
I don't know how that's still like
you're
fine.
Underage.
Yeah.
Underage or not.
Yeah.
Complete violation. I was looking up, and I just started to see like a lot of the tabloids also that they were referring to sometimes as this wild child or this party girl. And then you're giving a little bit this behind the scenes of like, no, that's literally just like a picture that you're in my fucking cab violating me.
You're in my cab. First of all, I was never really a wild child. I was working all the time. Like I would go to set on Gossip Girl, because I started making the first record while I was still on the show, because I formed the band at 14. So I would go to work at 4 a.m. on Gossip Girl, work till 6 at whatever time we wrapped, go straight to the studio and work in the studio from whatever that time was till 2 a.m. Come back, sleep for maybe an hour, and then do it all again. So I was working all the time. So this whole like wild child persona, it was just the makeup and my fashion choices, which were a bit outrageous, but very me. Like I was just being authentic. And so I think some of that was curated. And also it's my image. My image was a little out there. And I was now I call it pretentious. I look back on it and I go, oh, it's like cringy how pretentious some of the things I would say was, and how I'd speak and carry myself. But that's who I was at the time. And I think that some of that pretension came across extra because I was being defensive, because I felt like I constantly had to defend who I was as a person every time someone asked me a question, instead of just answering it kind of honestly, you know?
I feel like again, some people don't deal with it on the world stage, but that is relatable. And like playing with your image, and as women, like outfits and makeup and everything to really like self-express. And I love that you're saying like, I of course understood what it was doing, but I was still enjoying myself.
Oh yeah.
Because half of it is like, people can have social commentary on this, but guess what? You're now finally doing what you truly fucking love. And that's all that matters.
And I was always my own stylist and my own everything. So like I went shopping and I put those things together, and some of them are a little questionable when you look back. But like in general, that I was being the most authentic version of myself at that time.
So what is the story behind the name The Pretty Reckless?
Story behind The Pretty Reckless. Okay, so we formed the band. We now need a band name, which turns out band name is the hardest thing in the fucking world to come up with, especially in the internet age. Every band name's taken or trademarked. So anything you think of, can't use that, can't use that, can't use that. Kato came up with The Reckless. And I went, I love it, because I knew I wanted it to be a the because of the Beatles. And I wanted it to be like one word, not one of those long sentence band names, like something simple and whatever. So he went, The Reckless. Perfect. That's the name. We go to trademark it. There's an issue. There's some band from the 70s called The Reckless. We can't get it. And my lawyer goes, well, just add a word, like add any word, and people will abbreviate it. You know, like Led Zeppelin, people call it Zeppelin. And she goes, and once people abbreviate it, you'll have, the trademark, it'll be common, or whatever the loophole is. That then now you can trademark that also. And so we went, okay, what's the Pretty Reckless? It's better than moderately reckless. Like, sounds good. Yes. Didn't really think of it much, and then didn't notice that didn't think ahead that everyone would abbreviate it to TPR, not The Reckless. And hence The Pretty Reckless was born. But I love it now. Like at the end of the day, the music makes the band name, not the other way around. So it does. Now I'm fully the Pretty Reckless. Like I am the Pretty Reckless.
You are.
At this point.
You
so
are. And then obviously and then tragic.
It leads to tragedy.
Can you talk to me about the lead singer passes away during that tour?
Yeah. Well, it was the last night of tour, and we played the last show in Detroit, and we all said bye. Do this again sometime. See you on the road. We all got on our tour buses, went to bed, and I was woken up the next morning really early because the news had been passed around the camp, and I was dead asleep. And first of all, I'm not, as we've talked about, I'm not a morning person, so I think my brain takes a while to wake up. So hearing the news that someone I just spoke to and hugged and talked to a couple hours ago is no longer here, I couldn't process it at first. Like I was confused. I was going, what are you saying to me right now? And that turned into sinking in, which turned into the biggest pit in my stomach of devastation and just the worst feeling in the world of like, I mean, I fell the fuck apart. I fell onto the ground. And that was kind of the start of what we can call my dark period. It was so shocking, and so everything about that experience for me was so traumatic, that I still get shaky talking about it. It's something I try not to think about too much, but that is brutal. It's brutal.